It's always the last minute stuff at the State House that you got to watch out for.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Good, beautiful Wednesday evening. It's a pleasure to have you aboard on My State of Mind. We're going to forego our usual rundown this evening because we got two powerhouse minds here tonight to argue on behalf of this level of government that I have long said over the last, well, I'd say half a dozen years, has risen to a level of importance, prominence, and impact, and that is mayors, town administrators, the mezzanine level of government, really where it all happens. I mean, you're more focused on what's happening in your community, most likely, than you are in the state. In these days, Washington, because it's awful hard to figure out what's happening in Washington. But we've had the budget discourse. That's always, you know, the front and center. But it's the stuff after the budget that many times costs the dough. And we've got a handful of issues, including this Evergreen issue, which I've been telling you about for the last couple of nights here on TV and on the radio on WPR weekdays 3 to 6. That is my focus. Headline, yeah, end of session. And then this particular conversation about what is called the Evergreen Contract issue. The good mayors of North Providence and Johnston are here. They hardly need any introduction, Charlie Lombardi and Joe Polisena. Mayors, good evening. Nice to have you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thanks for the invitation.
This is a really important one. This Evergreen contract, and if I can explain it, folks, it's simple as this. When a contract expires, a municipal contract, a la schools, a la fire, police, maintenance workers, DPW, anybody municipal, this legislation proposes that the terms of the contract remain in place until a new contract is negotiated. And that might seem
harmless.
Harmless. You guys have the floor. Do not hesitate. Rock and roll.
So Dan, if I could lead this conversation, think about this. The Warwick teachers were in court. The judge rules against them in favor of the city. So they don't like that. So now we'll just change the law because we didn't like the judge's decision. And I don't think that anyone needs to know that. You don't need to be a brain surgeon to know that this is definitely not a taxpayer-friendly bill. The taxpayers are going to take it on the chin. I mean, it's like we're going to be in shackles, so to say. My opinion is, when a contract's over, it's over.
Yeah, one of the things too, I don't know where they got the term evergreen. It should be called perpetual contract because that's what it is. So I guess evergreen is just a nice, fancy, clean term, I guess trying to baffle the public. But what would happen is technically, if this happens, we're better off just giving the keys to the unions and say, here, just tell us what you want, because this is going to be very bad. Now, I've got 5 union contracts in my town. We have 4 settled contracts. I'm dealing with the police now. And of course, this wouldn't affect them because we're already in negotiations. So when those contracts run out, it puts me and the taxpayers at a huge disadvantage, because they can tell me, you know what, we're going to keep what we want. Let's say healthcare goes up. I'm just using.
We're going to keep what we have.
What we have. I'm sorry. Yeah. Apologize. Let's say healthcare goes up because it did this year for us, for our employees. It went up 12.8%. So it goes up 14%, and I'm saying to myself, well, we got to try and see if we can negotiate and get a bigger copay. Well, technically, you know what they're going to tell me. Where to go, how to get there, and what to do when I get there. So this is really frightening, and I understand to some point the union, what they're trying to do, but this is not good for the taxpayer. This is an anti-taxpayer bill, and I encourage the people that are watching this show to call their senators and representatives, because I will tell you this, and as my mother watches over me, God rest her soul, if this passes and I have to raise the taxes in the future, I will put the senators and reps from Johnston who voted for this, I will put their name on the tax bill and say, this is why you have a tax increase. I swear to God I'll do that, because this is ridiculous.
Has that ever been done? Have you ever, between the two of you, some provocative
yes.
actions?
Yep. Well, the car tax.
So Dan.
You ever done that? You ever put a senator's name on it and said, thank him?
I did.
You did?
I did once.
Well, you put it on the tax bill?
Oh, no, not on a tax bill,
That's
but I
what-
put it
in a
on
letter.
a communication.
Oh, you're going to put it in a letter?
Well, we send out letters
the
every
cover
year.
letter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could
the
think,
synopsis, if you
yeah,
will.
And I also put flyers, if you will, in the tax office, in the tax collector's office. So when they're sitting there waiting, as they're
They know.
brewing, and I've got about 10 or 15 letters in plastic, so they can't write on them. And it states that your tax increase is due to so and so. Because listen, it's one thing if I have to raise the taxes because I either overspent. I'll take the heat for that. But when we got everything in line, this is the second year in Johnston. There's no tax increase. Second year, we're holding the line on our spending. If this goes through, it's going to be out of control. It really is. It truly is going to be out of control as far as we're at a disadvantage. You might as well tie both arms behind our back and obviously tie our leg up, behind our back, because there's no way we'll be able to negotiate. And just, can I add one more thing?
Keep going.
We tried
Yeah,
I had legislation put in that the mayors got behind it, as well as the leagues and cities and towns, that would require neutral arbitrators for police and fire to be retired judges and magistrates from Rhode Island. And I'm going to tell you why. Most of the arbitrators are from Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York. You think they care about Johnston, Rhode Island, Jamestown, Rhode Island? And most of them people, they teach labor law. So how do you think they're going to rule in our favor? We don't stand a chance. They have actually said, I know it happened in Cumberland with Mayor Murray, we don't care what the law is. Then you have to go to Superior Court and spend more money.
Well, this is the process.
Yeah,
But
By the way, just let me
go
finish.
ahead.
They
Yeah.
laughed at me. We got, I think, one hearing, and that was it on one side, and never got a hearing on the other side. They kind of laughed us out of the State House. It was fair. We're not asking to change the arbitration process. We're asking to make it fair and I'd rather have a retired Rhode Islander judge or magistrate who knows the law say, you know what, Mayor, you got to pay. I'd rather have that than some clown from New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont, Connecticut, New York, and Massachusetts tell me, I don't really care, this is the way it is.
well, at least he's got the lay of the land.
He's got his finger on the pulse.
Lives here. I think this bill, we need more bargaining power, not less. And to try to bring upon any economic reform, our hands are going to be tied. Healthcare goes up. Contract expires. Healthcare goes up. You try to adjust it because we're here for the taxpayer. They're saying,
Can't do it.
we're gonna operate on the existing contract. So kill yourself trying to take care of the taxpayers. This is so disheartening and frustrating.
This is not the first time, though.
No,
This is not our first rodeo.
this
with
is the worst I've ever seen it, though, because there's
Enough,
several other
enough
bills.
is
up there.
enough.
There's several other
Yeah,
bills.
there are other bills that we will talk about, but I think what's important to talk about here is the actual process. When a contract expires and you have not, and most times you're taking it to the end of the contract anyway. It just happens to be the nature of the game, seems to me. The contract expires, and now the next day. What is the usual and sundry process? Forget this law, this bill proposal. What is the usual and sundry process?
When the contract,
You continue to negotiate, and then you put a marker time down that says what? If not by then, what happens?
You go to arbitration. That you're at impasse, and you go to arbitration, and then you arbitrate.
Who decides impasse has been reached?
It'll either be the city or town can decide, or the union can decide. They can decide impasse.
One party can say it's an impasse.
Correct.
Okay.
For instance, I'm negotiating with the police at this point in time. I made them my last best offer, and technically, if they say no, we're at impasse, and we've already filed for arbitration. They filed for arbitration. We've already picked our arbitrator. But what happens is,
And how long is the arbitration process?
Well, it could be 3 months, 5 months, 6 months. It all depends.
When do
they
we
can meet.
decide that too is not getting resolved? What happens?
Well, eventually it'll get resolved, but here's what happens. The arbitrator, because as you know, the union picks their arbitrator, the city picks their arbitrator, the city or town, and of course the neutral. Now the neutral is on a list. Usually if he or she ends up leaning towards the city or town, they get their name and they scratch it off the list. And they get, $1,800 a day in some instances, plus expenses. It's very expensive. So if you go 3 or 4 or 5 days, it's a pretty good sized paycheck for one person. So what happens is, I always say, we don't stand much of a chance in arbitration. We look ahead, and we look ahead to Superior Court. And that's when we go to Superior Court and say, listen, the contract has expired. There was a decision made in the North Kingstown, remember the North
Right.
Kingstown case?
Right.
So that's what opened this up, and that's
Right.
why this is
Well,
all coming
that was a
about.
management rights issue.
That's what it's on, yes.
That was glaring.
Yes.
And of course, the contract had expired, and the town wanted to make some changes on manpower and other things.
Correct.
And we've been working with that precedent. But You go to Superior Court when both parties say, okay, the arbitrator isn't working?
No, the arbitrator makes a decision.
No matter what?
No matter what.
And the other party
right,
can appeal?
Right. You can't appeal wages, and I think wages, but if they give them other things, whether it's extra sick time or something like that.
We're in negotiations right now with the police, and we don't know where it's going at this point. We offered what we thought was a substantial increase in pay. That's not enough. See, because they know they have the opportunity to burn you out or try to burn you out and cost you a lot of money. This bill, Dan, there's no incentive for them to negotiate because they're going to live happily ever after.
Well, they would say only if they need a raise.
Well, but they're looking to raise. So where's the law? Where's the law that says that you have to have a 3% raise a year? Never happened to me in private business.
Right.
But this is what you're faced with. Oh, look what they did in Cranston. Look what they did in Warwick. Well, we're in a different situation. You know, we can only afford what we can afford. So when they start, as Joe said, with the comps, I don't care what's going on in another community. I know what the tax base can afford in North Providence. And by the way, you want to talk about the police in this, just to get off it a second, our average guy made $87,000 last year. Their pension is funded to over 93%, second highest in the state. I don't know if that's that bad of a job.
No. All right, when we come back, what are their options under this bill, if any? Stay with us. All right, you know, that's where it all happens. And the independent man sits on top wondering what the hell's going on. Joe Polisena, Mayor of Johnston, Charles Lombardi, the Mayor of North Providence. We're talking about this thing called the Evergreen Bill, which really ought to be named a perpetual contract bill because it's exactly what this whole thing is. So understand the proposal right now, and the number, if you want to reference it, you just tell your representative that Evergreen perpetual contract bill. They'll know exactly what you're talking about, I can promise you. H5593. And by the way, if tomorrow any union member wants to come on in here and tell us why they think this is necessary, we'd be happy to engage that conversation as well. It's oftentimes difficult to get those advocating on labor issues to actually play their cards and lay them on the table, which is unfortunate. I did get a couple of calls on the radio show yesterday from people who, well, I think were very objective and very candid about what they were looking for, which is that they think it's okay to be able to joust and tie a municipality's hands behind their back, as you would say. Hey, listen, that's their perspective. Yeah, I mean, everyone's all's fair in love and war. But what would your option be? Contract expires. Union says, we're not that. If a union likes their contract, they're not going to be very motivated to come back to the table for all this lengthy process because all the terms of the contract would remain. And again, as these mayors have said, if there are expenses, if there are trends, if there's recession, all that kind of thing, and adjustments need to be made, it would be impossible, but almost impossible. Is there anything in this bill that allows you to do anything? Can you lay people off?
Well, not if you've got minimum manning. If you've got minimum manning in your contract, it's still in existence. You can't lay anybody off.
Sure.
And there's usually minimum manning for police and fire. So if they have it in their contract, who are you going to lay off? On
a tier of the most difficult scenario for you guys to manage the finances, what category, police, fire, schools, down the line, would be the most expensive under this worry?
Salaries and benefits.
No, which one of the categories? Police, fire, schools?
Really, all of them. I mean, you know, police and fire. Obviously, in my situation, I think Mayor Lombardi has the same. We don't control the schools; it's at the school committee. So, but we all work together. So, I don't want to see the school committee.
Well, you fund the school budget,
correct? Cut them a check.
and then they, you know, and you cannot be not cognizant of what the school committee needs are when you send them their money.
We're here fighting for them tonight on the show.
And that's the reason why. And that's the reason why we're here. More importantly, Dan, but you know, and I probably won't happen in my lifetime, but that the autonomy of the school departments, that needs to disappear. It's one community. And the
Oh,
money,
I've long said that. I mean, you guys ought to be the chair people of your local school committees. That's what they do in Massachusetts.
Thank you.
There's so many platforms, in programs and models that Massachusetts has. Proposition 2.5, the car tax. You know, here we are with the car tax reduction. All I keep begging the speakers, would you just copy what Mass has and stop with this game-saving District 15 re-election car tax proposal?
and
Blah
I
blah
think
blah blah blah.
I think Massachusetts, you make a good point, and I stand to be corrected, but I think their health care is set. There's no negotiations. I'm almost positive that the health care
State
copay,
rate. It's a
yes,
state rate.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
right. And so there's some disciplines and aids that are brought in.
So we want to be like Massachusetts in so many other ways.
Yes.
Except where the union has control.
I think a Prop 2.5 too, which helps.
Well, Prop 2.5 is, I mean, it's a classic. I mean, if you have an argument to raise the property taxes by more than 2.5% over the previous year, you bring it to the people, and then they vote on it, and they're able to engage. But, so you're saying that layoffs would not be possible?
Not with police and fire, at least. You know, there's no minimum manning for our municipalities. Teachers, I don't know. I don't believe there's minimum staffing. I should say, not minimum manning. It's a poor choice of words. But minimum staffing, we do have it for police and fire. So if I said to them, okay, well, we're going to have to get rid of 15 firemen or 15 policemen in order to fund what we're funding now in your contract, they say, yeah, nice try.
Yeah. Go ahead, Charlie.
So what happened with with us? I want to say it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I'm sorry, we were in good financial condition. We went to the police. We said that, when I did some comparisons, actually, to a town like Cumberland, you got 34,000 people, you got 25.5 square miles, we're 5.2, we got 34,000 people. Cumberland's got 48 policemen, we had 71. So we started to do a little comparison on the number of responses, and, we will respond to maybe 5% more calls. So I said, we need to get down at least 10 people. So we worked it out where we decreased our manpower by 10 people for 1 year. Overtime was at an all-time low. We saved about $500,000, $550,000. It sunsetted after a year. We couldn't put it together. Now we had to go back to the table, and we settled on 66 members. We're trying to get it down another 5. I couldn't convince the council because the police comes to the council budget session in mass. They get scared. I was taking 3 positions that haven't been filled in 2 years out of the budget. So now you got the political thing going on. Okay, we're answering the calls. Overtime is not extravagant. Well, let's start to downsize the department. So they said to me, well, though, we bought a Providence in Pawtucket. I said, yeah, and Cumberland bought a Central Falls and Woonsocket. So this is what you have to deal with, is you end up going to the table and have to bargain it, or you just don't fill the positions, and then you take the chance that they're going to take you back, and to negotiate. I mean, we were in a negotiation 3 weeks ago, Dan, for 2 hours overtime, and they tested me. We went to negotiation and they ran out the door.
Have you guys done any math on what the actual hit would be to towns? I mean, obviously, it's all all circumstantial. But if this perpetual contract, evergreen deal, becomes law, have you done any scratching out as to what each of your budgets might?
No, you just know that it's going to cost you more money because you no longer have the position to bargain for your taxpayers because the contract is in place. It's like cement. It's not going anywhere, and you know that it's going to just cost you more money.
How many times do you? I'm guessing it's a rare, if never happened type of thing, that you actually reduce salaries of public employees. Have you ever reduced the salaries?
No, I
No.
haven't.
I think the best case scenario
is flat.
Flat. Yeah.
Flat. And so people are listening, going, well, so if there's no new contract, it remains flat. But it's the OPEB, it's the pension, it's the other, it's the health, the healthcare OPEB, the entire other part of it, which unfortunately, as the economic cycles go, you need to have some leverage there. But you've never not, I'm guessing, had more expense from one contract to another.
Oh, yeah. It goes up every year.
It's always going up.
Because healthcare goes up. Of course, if they get a raise,
yeah,
obviously you have to give that raise the final year. And then other things, there are certain other things that go up that really maybe it's not part of the contract, but fuel goes up. obviously for the police vehicles. You get new vehicles. So yeah, things rise. I mean, that's not part of the contract. I understand that, but healthcare goes up all the time. Also, you know, some of them get a uniform allowance, so the uniform allowance stays the same, but you still have to pay the uniform allowance. Some get a gun allowance to qualify, obviously.
So your flexibility to be able to carve some things out in times of trouble is completely limited.
It's well, not now, not the way it is, but before, if this perpetual contract.
Because now you can do what? Outside a contract, you can make some moves.
Well, yeah, and you can tell them, well, if quite frankly, if we don't get this, we're going to have to do this, especially if the contract's expired, of course.
Of course, there's a couple other things going on, including a disability pension bill that accompanies this that's also pretty tough for these communities. We'll be right back to talk about that. Stay with us. State Treasurer says there's an immaterial impact with the passage of this particular bill. I'm trying to figure out how that number came out. The House yesterday okayed disability for police and firefighters to be expanded to what is considered to be on-duty related cardiac, blood pressure, other stress-related cancer issues. Disability has been traditionally injuries that are identifiable based on what's going on. There's a doctor process and all this, but again, how many doctors are going to look at a guy and say, by the way, I can honestly tell you that the stress of fighting fires has nothing to do with your higher blood pressure. I mean, come on, man.
Dan, I've been a nurse for 32 years. No doctor's going to tell you you're not sick. Basically, if you tell them, listen, I've got this, unless they do multiple tests.
Sometimes they're your worst enemy.
The doctors.
You know, listen, let me ask you.
And I say that
I'm a
tongue-in-cheek.
firefighter.
Yeah, I understand.
I become a firefighter. A year later, I'm diagnosed, God forbid, with cancer. I got it on the job. But you're going to presume, so now all of a sudden, here we go. Off, fill in, keep paying them, arbitration. We were at the disability subcommittee, we win. We go before the full committee, we win. Then this gentleman thought he would take us back. It cost us thousands. In the end, we won. But the system is broke.
Well, this bill passed by a monster number in the House. I'm guessing the Senate is going to take a hard look at it. I did hear what the governor had to say earlier today about it, and she has qualms about it, but right now there's an override vote of substance in the House. Any feeling about what the Senate's going to do?
I have no idea. I was at the State House yesterday. I really don't know what's going on up there.
It's hard for you guys to argue two or three different things coming at you. Of everything, it seems to me that this Evergreen thing is a much more.
That's worse.
That's the thing that you're most concerned about.
And you know what? I got to be honest with you, but I will remind those who supported this bill what they did, and make sure that those people that are going to decide whether they're going to reelect those people will know what they did.
30 seconds.
Sorry. The perpetual contract bill is probably the worst. Listen, we want to take care of our firefighters. If something happens, God forbid, they put their lives on the line, no doubt about it. But to extend people's contracts in perpetuity is bizarre, it's ludicrous, and it's really, I think it's a ripoff on the taxpayers. And the taxpayers, if you're listening and watching, please make your phone calls and send your emails, because once this passes, it's all over financially.
Well, there you go. All right, gentlemen, give up the good battle. Final word and we can back. By the way, both these mayors you just heard from, Charlie Lombardi in North Providence and Mr. Polisena in Johnston, are Democrats. Democrats. You know, there's not a lot of ideology when it comes to dollars and cents and trying to keep the trains running on time in your particular town. Make a note of that. See you on the radio tomorrow at 3. We'll continue with this conversation. Call your legislators. Tell them no on the Evergreen contracts.